So you've been married 50 years. What's the secret?
You gotta take the good with the bad and have a lot of patience.
It's a patient moment.
When someone loses their temper and they're out of control, berserk.
Your turn, Leon.
I don't think he has anything to complain about.
She's the perfect woman.
Well, ask my mother. She would tell you that.
I have nothing to complain about.
What could you say?
The first time you met Leon?
Well, I remember he was my brother's friend, so I would see him casually.
We went to Oakland Pool, where Irene was always there in the summertime. She's 13 years old at the point in time, and she's wearing this white one-piece bathing suit and looks, you know, like the prettiest little girl you ever laid eyes on.
There was an age difference of 8 years, huh?
Right, so you're just the kid's sister.
Yeah, I was just a kid's sister.
Franny says to me, he says, Leon, you're going to marry that girl. And he was right.
And then when my brother, Lenny, got married, we started dancing at his wedding.
I'm in law school at this point in time. Lenny's getting married.
He was very handsome, well, yeah. Had a very good personality, good dancer.
There's Irene, 16 years old. She just turned 16. And at that time, she was then and is now the prettiest girl I ever laid eyes on. And boom, that was that.
Did you two dance with each other? Was there?
Yeah, at the wedding, yeah.
Oh, yes. And I had no interest in anybody else from that time on.
He must have asked me out. Maybe he came in for a weekend or something. I can't remember, must have gone to the movies.
Do you remember like the first time you went out to dinner or sort of a romantic?
Well, I don't think he had money to go out to dinner. He was very exciting, very dynamic. He had all these big plans.
I had very little money, and when Irene used to come down, I would probably get into a poker game to try to earn some money.
I would take the train with my friends to Philadelphia.
So the beginning of your relationship was funded by gambling, basically.
We'd go and spend the weekend there, see a football game, go to fraternity parties. Well, what would you have done if you had lost? Borrow money from someone?
I didn't consider that problem. I recall asking her to marry me after I discussed it first with my parents, and they thought this is great because, you know, first of all, my parents knew the Gordons. Second of all, they knew Irene, and they thought she was great.
Where was the wedding?
Vernon Manor in Mount Vernon.
I remember just before the wedding ceremony itself, before we went underneath the chuppah, I belted down several little shot glasses of scotch.
And then we went to Miami Beach. It was our first plane ride. Neither of us had ever been on a plane.
But there comes a time during that flight when she gets very tired and she falls asleep. She puts her head in my lap. And I said to myself, well, you've got a big responsibility. You've always been able to take care of yourself. Now you got a wife to take care of. So I said, boy, I got to do all by this girl who's got all this confidence in me that I'm going to be able to make come true all of the pipe dreams I was telling her about.
So you were telling her that you were going to be a successful
But he was so
lawyer.
confident.
Sure.
Everything, his manner, his dream, it sounded like it was all going to come true. And it did.
Marjorie's born in 1961.
Right. And then in 1963 we had David.
Right.
And 1967 Mike. And 1972 Lisa. So we have 2 boys and 2 girls.
For my parents, the children came first. They would do anything for their children. whatever we needed, they wanted the best for us, because what was so important was that we would have a better life than they had growing up, and that they gave us all the opportunities to be the best that we could be.
To me, the most rewarding experience is being a father. I looked forward to it at the beginning. I always enjoyed being a father. I always wanted to spend time with my children above all else.
It was just, everything was for the kids. They're our life.
Dad was working a lot, but the point was that he always made time to be with us. I like to kid them because I remember the one play that both he and my mom missed growing up, that there was only one time of growing up where they weren't there.
I turned down the opportunities to run for public office because to me, it was more important for me to be able to spend time with my children. That's one of the reasons I put in a swimming pool, not only because it was part of my dream to have it, but I knew that if I had a swimming pool, I could spend time with the kids.
Kids come first, parents to the end of the line. It just was a natural that way for us.
What I would arrange to do many times, would be to take the family with me when I had business out of town.
Did you have different parenting styles between you and your husband?
Huh. When he was around, all I had to do was say, Dad's home.
And what happened?
Everything was perfect.
What I've always tried to do with my children is to be there to advise them, but not live their life. I don't tell them what to do.
My dad had a hard life growing up when he was a kid, and that's the one thing he didn't want anybody to experience, whether it was his kids and now his grandchildren. He didn't want any of us to ever have to go through any of the things that he had to go through as a child and then as a young adult having to support himself.
And I explained it to him very early in life. I said, you ought to listen to your father for only one reason, not because I'm your father, but because a lot of people pay me a lot of money for my advice. And you're getting it for free.
My father was always a source of inspiration. He was the one that said, Marjorie, you can do anything you want to do. You want to do this, you want to do that, you want to run a company, you can do whatever you want to do.
We're a family that always did a lot of things together. And that is something that I will keep with me, for, all my days, is that I was lucky to grow up in a family that stayed together and loves each other. I know that I'm lucky.
You were in the kitchen, and the centerpiece of the house so many times was the kitchen, because that's where Mom held court. And that's where Mom would make her delicious winter soups or whatever other foods that she would love to make without any complaints or hassles. She would put it together and whip up something.
Grandma's such a good chef.
She makes magnificent
Cooking, oh my goodness.
gefilte fish,
Knishes.
chopped liver,
Pretty good food.
Biscuit, steak,
chicken soup,
Stuffed cabbage.
applesauce,
The best chef in the world.
very,
Split
very
pea.
good.
Applesauce.
Brisket,
Matzo balls.
roast beef,
Grandma's applesauce.
turkey.
I'm a soup eater in their family. I'm really good with soup. I love soup.
If it's Jewish, she knows how to do it, and she knows how to do it well.
Oh, I love being a grandfather. To me, the more time I can spend with my grandchildren, the better it is.
I just enjoy how generous they are and how kind and loving grandparents they are.
And then becoming grandparents, we were already specialists.
That's right.
So that's been even more fun.
We usually go to their house, so it's just a great place to go to, kind of like a safe haven, a place for relaxing and just having a perfect time.
Yeah, I went to Disney World with them once. Grandma is like the best grandma in the world. She always gives us more time.
I gave him a nickname, the Toy Man.
A toy man.
When I was younger, I would always want a little toy or something, and he would always be there to give it to me.
She always gives us extra time so we could get more play time. Picking their cherry tomatoes, swimming, going on the swing set.
It's so beautiful that all the grandchildren are close to each other. The teenage Danny and Mark, they still have the patience and they're interested in their little cousin. The first time we saw her was in the hospital when she was born.
Yeah.
Our wonderful Julia, and we were just overwhelmed. First little girl.
Were you there, Grandpa?
I sure was.
Ah,
I wouldn't have missed that event.
Sometimes I go to movies with them.
You see these grandkids a lot.
oh yeah. We see them all the time.
Mom and Dad.
Mom, Dad,
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad.
Grandma, grandpa,
Grandpa and Grandma. Grandma and Grandpa.
grandma, grandpa.
Grandpa and Grandma.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Love you.
I love you so much.
I love you.
Love you.
I love you.
Love you.
I love you very much.
I love you.
We all love you so much.